Good evening. Welcome to Expert Insights. I'm your host, Raju Mandhyan. Here at Expert Insights, we take external views of the internal successes by foreigners, expats, and immigrants who have made Philippines their home. Our purpose is to find good and broadcast it and educate you a bit and sometimes, hopefully, entertain you some. Today, my guests are from England, English people, husband and wife, and they've been husband and wife for the longest time. The husband, Peter Hawe, a friend of mine, is a life coach, and his lovely wife, Celia Hawe, is a yoga trainer and an author. Tonight, they are here to talk to us about how to unleash brilliance in oneself, whether it is psychological or physical. So, welcome to Expert Insights, Mr. and Mrs. Hawe.
Thank you.
So, tell us a bit about yourself before we start talking to you about unleashing brilliance and being English.
Well, about being English. Well, as you said, we're from Scotland. We live in Scotland, but we're English.
Right.
So we're from the UK. We've been in the Philippines for, must be 16 years. About 16 years now, and we've loved it. It's a fantastic place to be. And so is the UK, but it's warm here, so that's one of the nice things about it. So, Celia, would you like to add any more to that?
Yeah, we've divided our time. Sometimes it's been a lot longer here, maybe 4 years, and then we have to go back a little bit, but we always come back. So it's definitely been a huge part of our life for 16 years.
It's like a second home.
It's definitely a second home, first home sometimes.
Okay. Two questions I need to ask you before we dive into the topic. Number one, what is fun about being in the Philippines? It's a new campaign by the Department of Tourism. I need to know what is fun about being in the Philippines. What is that one fun thing? What do you enjoy? Besides the want.
The people are fun. They've got this natural inner quality of being fun all the time. And so I liked it. When I first heard it, I thought, strange. But then when it grew on me, I thought, yeah, fun in the Philippines, that hits the spot. And so, for me, the people in the Philippines love fun, they have a laugh. And they're very similar to the British. British have got a certain sense of humour, and the Filipinos have got a certain sense of humour. Yeah. And they laugh at the same things. I remember I went on a boat trip over to Corridor Island, a local island just off Manila here. Yeah. And we were watching, I was with this local lady, and we just met. And we sat watching the videos, as you do, on the boat. And we were both looking at Mr. Bean.
Which is English.
Which is English.
Yeah.
And we laughed, and we laughed all the way from Corridor Island back to the main port of Mandhyan.
Right.
And we laughed until we were dripping. It was wonderful.
No kidding.
We both laughed at exactly the same time, at exactly the same thing.
Right.
So, so it just showed me that how close we were with the things we liked. So fun in the Philippines.
So there are certain things common about being any kind of a human being, whether you're an English person or a Filipino person. You found common ground in Mr. Bean, and you enjoyed that.
Yes.
That was good for you. Okay. Celia, do you have a story to tell about?
Well, not so much a story, but I was going to say people, because they're always ready for a laugh and a giggle, and it's not so much fun, but what comes out of having that fun and happiness is that everything is better when you go out for a meal. It's better. The culture, which I love, I mean, not hugely fun, but really, really important to me is the culture.
I want to share this. I don't usually share a lot of stuff with your friends. Every guest I've had on this chair, almost everyone's been a foreigner or an expat, and I've asked them this question: what do you like about the Philippines? And they go, people. Yeah. I have to hold them back from saying people. Don't say people. So what would be the second best thing for you from that perspective, that everyone's taken up, people's taken up, the answer people's taken up? Is there something else that is attractive about Philippines? Nice about Philippines, good about Philippines for you, besides the tao, as we call them in Tagalog? Yeah.
I can get in first with this one. I love the fruit here. I think they are the best mangoes in the world. They are unbelievable. Yeah. The pineapples are fantastic. Yeah. The papaya are wonderful. And, I know it doesn't sound a lot, but I just love the fruit. They're just the best in the world. Oh, what I'd say.
Peter, for you. Second option.
Second option.
People sold out.
Okay, before we leave people, I'd like to say that a lot of people speak English, so I'll bypass that quickly.
Okay,
I didn't say
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all out there. Thank you very much. So, going on, I like the countryside is wonderful here, the beaches.
Right.
When we first came here, we went to Boracay, and that was before they had much in fresh water, etc. And it was magical then. And we've been back recently, we've been back 7, 8 times. And it's still magical, even though it's very different and it's very populated with hotels. But there is a certain magic. We've been fortunate that we've done quite a bit of travelling. We've swam the whale sharks, etc. So there's plenty of things to do here in the Philippines. So if you want to move away from people,
The landscape.
The
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to unleashing brilliance in human beings. That's what your forte is, that's what your skill set is, and you live for that, no?
Yeah.
So maybe start telling us about your profession. Maybe you can go first, you're a yoga teacher, or Peter can go first. You make the choice.
Well, I can tell you that I've been teaching yoga for 32 years.
Wow.
I've got a 3-year qualification, which is very well thought of in Britain. It's the British Wheel of Yoga. And people perhaps think of yoga as doing very difficult exercises that contort the body, but I would challenge that. And for me, I would go back to the original teaching of yoga, which is to still the thought waves of the mind. That's what it is. The postures were really brought in just to help people be still. So my work very much is not teaching people excruciating exercises, but it's to teach them to still their minds, to be still, and to improve their lives because of that. You can only see truth if you're still.
Wow, I am impressed with that. I am really impressed. So you're saying that putting your leg over your neck, or standing on your head, or becoming a fish or crocodile or tree, as they're called in yoga, those are secondary to the fact that there's something else you need to do inside of you.
Yes.
And that is to still the mind.
Yes.
So thus yoga to you is stilling the mind.
Yes.
And that's the core thought, that's the core belief system.
That is the going back to the absolute purity of what yoga was.
Yeah.
And then a lot of
should be.
And should be
okay.
Should be. A lot of people are making money in all sorts of new types of yoga, bordering on the circus athletics, right through to ridiculous chocolate yoga.
Chocolate yoga?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
Naked yoga, that's a new one. You know? So it's stilling the thought waves of the mind, so you're able to see truth.
I'd like to come back to that. Quickly about coaching in a minute, Peter. About what you do to the mind, you as a coach.
Okay, coaching, a definition of coaching, a very simple definition of coaching is a process of growing people, let's say. So it's a process, it's an interaction between 2 people or more, and the idea is that they both grow. So it's not just about the client growing, but also the coach themselves grow in that process. Yeah. They become to a different place. So that's it in a nutshell. That's what coaching is.
That's in a nutshell. Okay, let's take a break on that note, and we'll come back and go deeper into both these subject matters, coaching and yoga, and how to unleash brilliance through these two. All right, stay with us. We are with Peter Hawe and Celia Hawe, and we are talking about unleashing personal brilliance. This is Expat Insights. I'm your host, Raju Mandhyan. Just hang in there. Good evening. Welcome back. You are on Expat Insights, and my guests are Celia Hawe and Peter Hawe, and we are talking about unleashing personal brilliance. Unleashing brilliance, and Celia is a yoga trainer, and Peter Hawe is a coach, and they just gave us a little insight on coaching and yoga. Let's go back to either coaching or yoga. I'm game with both. So where do you want to go? Unleashing personal brilliance. You want to continue on that note, because that was kind of needed more. Coaching, a little bit of definition, description, what have you.
Okay, well, you mentioned the word brilliance, and
Yes.
that was one of the reasons why we started Diamond Coaching about 15 years ago.
Correct.
Because what we wanted to do was to bring out the brilliance in people. And like a diamond, once you polish it, not only is it better able to give light out, but it's better able to reflect light from other people. So you get a two-way.
Slow down that one. Go with that again for me one more time.
Sure.
That was nice, but I need to hear it one more time.
Yeah. So the innate quality of a diamond is that the more you polish it,
Yeah.
the better able it's to reflect its light in
Right.
the world,
Right.
making it an individual state. Now, and also it's a two-way operation because it not only reflects their own brilliance, but also it reflects other people's brilliance more effectively. So the more coaching you can do on yourself or on others, then the better able to get more sparkle, more brilliance in your life and their lives.
Oh, okay. Thus, diamond coaching.
Thus
So
diamond
let me try to rephrase that. You're saying that if I coach you, thus the process is that I am also shining and making myself better as I coach you. There's a two-way street, coaching you. That's the power behind coaching for you. That's where the value comes in.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Does yoga do that to you, that if you help somebody learn the secrets of yoga, let's say, or the nuances of yoga, does that work for you too, both ways? Is it? I see a little relationship between yoga and coaching, but help me put it across.
Yes, I believe that that does happen, that if you're shining out your light and the purer you make yourself through some of the yoga practices, the eating healthy food as well, then you are shining, and hopefully, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could get the whole world shining?
Yeah, you would be able to do that. Let me ask you this. There's a certain section of society which assumes that yoga is a certain belief system.
Yes.
Is there a certain influence, a religious influence on it? What is your take on that, Celia?
Yes. Well, in some cases, there is a Hindu take on it.
Right.
But really there isn't, and there doesn't need to be. I'm a practicing Christian, and I teach my way of yoga, which has really saved a lot of people going around the bend, because it helps people to be less stressed. And I think that it's a good thing. People are desperate now, especially in the UK and in the eastern section of the world, of the West. People are so stressed. We have a very bad recession, and people are stressed, and they're drinking alcohol to get rid of it. It's not working.
But thus you're saying that there is a clear distinction between the technology and the belief system behind it. There can be, and it does exist between yoga and the background. It has. It does.
It can do, but it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to.
I use the word yoga because why not? I've spent a lot of time. I've written 2 books. But I could equally call myself a relaxation teacher.
Relaxation teacher or a stress manager.
Yes.
Peter, now give us the background on coaching. That's the essence of coaching you gave us, that it works 2 ways. No? Now, who should use coaching? Who needs coaching? What kind of people need coaching?
Everybody.
Yeah?
No exceptions. From children right up to 99-year-olds. Because of the value it provides. What coaching did, what we did was we took the best out of various disciplines. In as much that we took the best out of counselling skills, we took the best out of psychology, we took about of some various approaches like sports science. We brought it all together because it's quite a recent phenomenon. Coaching is. I mean, it's only been around. Sports coaching has been around quite a long time.
Right.
But in the 80s and 90s, it's when it really got together. And of course now it's everywhere. It's in companies. It's life coaching. It's on TV. It's on the media. So and everybody, all the film stars, have had coaches.
Right.
And so it's very much common knowledge now. So it can be very useful. Coaching skills, no matter how basic, can be very useful.
So what does one have to be for you to become a coach? or to coach, whether there's a process to becoming a coach or just being a coach naturally, what do you have to go through, and what are your characteristics as a coach? Who do you have to be? What kind of a person do you have to be to a coach?
To be an effective coach.
Effective coach, okay.
Anybody can be a coach, and can be a good listener, be able to listen to people without your own inner noise, if you like, taking over.
Inner noise, yeah.
Yeah. So you can really be with a person. So and to be able to listen and to ask questions, powerful questions, and stay with the client's agenda, you know, and a belief in the people and in the process itself, and wanting the best for the person, for the client.
What do you mean stay with the gender? Can you explain that?
Stay with their agenda, in as much that if they come with a problem or a gap they want to fill or a goal, then you stay with what they really want rather than bringing in your own. Because this is a big distinction between being a friend and being a coach. A friend tends to have their own agenda. They'll, you know,
empathize.
And well, they will. If a friend comes to them and says, "I have this problem," a friend will try and solve it for them. And whereas a coach,
side up.
Or side up,
right.
or take a stand, or take a position,
right.
and say you should do it
Become
this way.
Become an ally.
Whereas a coach, they form a partnership with
right.
the person, which basically means that they stay with the agenda of the client, not their own.
Oh, you said agenda. I'm sorry, I heard it as gender. That's why. Agenda. Okay.
The
fine.
agenda, yes.
So the game plan or the purpose or the mission of the client, whatever he wants to achieve or she wants to, you stay with one. So what kind of training do you have to go through besides having naturally good listening skills or good conversational skills? What else is required of you as a coach? What do you do? I mean, do I just go, I'm a great listener, so I become a coach, or how? What's the process?
Well, there's various processes. You can go for an accreditation, for example, which the International Coach Federation provide accreditation, and they have certain basic requirements you need to go through, which includes having coached people before and gone through a certain training. So there's that part. There's if you like, the professional side.
All right.
But if people want to use coaching skills just for their ordinary everyday life, then there are books, self-help books about coaching skills. But learning how to listen effectively is a good start.
Is a good key. Are there any nuances of being a good coach and a good yoga educator there? Are there similarities in, if I want to be a great yoga teacher, are there similarities in being a good sports coach? Is there something common there that we can tap? And when you say unleashing brilliance, because it's physical and psychological, mental, is there something similar, Celia?
I think it's believing in other people.
Yeah.
And keeping them at it. So a sports coach would really keep people at it, and I keep people at it. It's not that I make them work excruciating hard in a class, but when people come to an hour's yoga with me, I say to them at the end, or towards the end, I say, "You think you've come to an hour's class, don't you?" And they go, "Yes." I say, "Well, really, you know, I need to tell you that there are 168 hours in the week, and I want you to practice your yoga the other 167 hours that you're not in the class." So I give them a lot of things to do, so that they're sharpening up their skills, they're opening up their brilliance, if we're talking about unleashing their brilliance. So there are so many things that you can do. There's 30 minutes every day that's totally wasted. So we use that for breathing techniques. We use it for relaxing.
Which part of the day do you use up or abuse the 30 minutes? What do you,
Waiting for perhaps your partner, you're going out together in the car, one of you will be ready first. So you're sat there and thinking, wish they'd hurry up, come on, or wife, you know, why don't they hurry up, you know, come on already, it's 10 minutes. So they've sat there for 10 minutes and, you know, thinking, you know, and getting really tense, and sit, relax. Do a simple breathing exercise. So, you know,
gather yourself together.
Gather yourself together when you're waiting in line. Instead of getting frustrated and stressed, use my techniques. I've developed these techniques so that people can use them every day. Going up in an escalator, use my technique.
This is good. I like it. You're saying that every second of the day, every minute of the day, you can make it productive.
Yes.
You can make it useful for your own being rather than getting stressed or creating frustration over things that you have no control of, and saying that, okay, this is a thing that I can still benefit and do something for myself while I'm walking up, climbing up, sitting down. Instead of rotting in front of a television, you say you can make it productive. That's a great idea. So if I'm in a dentist's office, waiting for the dentist to call me in, I can convert that into productive time. Instead of flipping through glossy, gossipy magazines. That would be yoga? Wow, I like this. I like this. So what is the process of coaching, Peter? Now, what is a cycle? How do you, who engages you saying that I need to be coached? Or you decide, he decides, somebody else decides for them? How does the process go?
Okay, so there can be various approaches. I mean, sometimes in a corporation, for example, people are, everybody's coached, you know, so they're not volunteered, they are asked to go and to be coached, to improve their skills, to improve their leadership qualities, to groom them for the next job, the next managerial position. So that's the corporate world. Life coaching, most often in my experience, is that people have come to a crossroads in their life. They either don't like their job, or they're just about to be made redundant, and they're sure there's a more fulfilling job out there somewhere for them. So often they'll come to a coach to help them to find their authentic self, if you like, so they can say, yeah, this is what I really want to do, rather than just do something what they're good at, or they just fell into a job, or they had to do the job because that was all that was available. So often that's why a person will come.
So there's a certain alignment of passion, a certain alignment of desire towards where they want to go, no?
Yes.
I want you to tell me, what do you do when somebody discovers that they need to change the path of their life, or need to stretch themselves either in a profession or business, no? What do you do? I want to ask you that. But before that, you talked about corporate coaching or executive coaching. When the company head sends a certain manager to you, is there a certain amount of resistance that comes in from the manager who's been assigned to get coached? Does he say, what the heck, I don't deserve this, I'm good? Do you get that kind of resistance? How do you overcome that?
Sure. The important thing is to make sure that there's a positive spin on the being coached. So that's why it's important for the coach to get to the first thing. So even at the early days, when the coaching intervention is being programmed or scheduled, it's important that the coach makes sure that there's a positive spin on it, that everybody is there for the right reasons. So the client, or if you like the coachee, says, yeah, I'm being chosen to be coached because I'm key in this organization, and they want me to be better, not just to get more out of me, but because they feel I'm important. So it's that sort of positivity, rather than we're going to have you coach because you need to be fixed.
Right, exactly. That was the question,
So it's important to get there early so they get a positive spin.
Yes, so it's not about fixing a problem, it's about improving what is already good.
Sure.
Would that be right?
Yeah, they grow from their strengths. Everybody grows from their strength.
So on the second question, that what is the process? I want to change my life. Today I'm a host, and today I want to be a producer. So how do I change? What is the process? How long does it take? What do you do?
Okay, so if, say, you were a client and you came to me and you said you want to be a host on an international TV network.
Right.
And so we create a gap. We say, okay, you're here now, and that's where you want to be. So we create a gap.
Create it, or it exists?
It exists already, but maybe it doesn't exist in that way in your mind, for example. So, but together, as a partnership, we will say, okay, we'll create a strategy between where you are now to where you want to be. It's a bit like getting here, the show? Today, to the show. I had to have a map to show me where I was. So where I came from the condominium to here, I needed to know where I was, and also I needed to know where I had to get to. Hence, she gave me a map how to get here. So it's just like that in a conversation. That's where we've got to start from.
We have 4 minutes coming up for a break. And I'd like to hear a story of success from each one of you in your discipline, coaching and yoga. If you can take up all 4 minutes for just coaching, I'm fine. If you want to share me a success story that you have helped achieve, highlight it, exemplify your work in a story if you can.
Well, I guess one of my successes was writing my book, Yoga for Weight Loss.
Okay.
And it was very successful. It was the best-selling yoga book for nearly 4 years in America.
How many? 4 years?
Yeah, Barnes and Noble.
We will show that little picture of your book. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a success. But more than that, the success was the emails that people write me, and they say how much it's helped them. For me, success is not my success. It's other people being successful with the techniques that I share with them. So my pioneering ways of weight loss, which is to work on their minds. You know, the fat is in the mind. So that's my success. When other people are successful and say that my book has touched their heart because I wrote it from my heart for other people, that is my success.
Peter, did you help somebody achieve brilliance? And can you share a story of you having unleashed somebody's brilliance?
Yes. Well, earlier I gave an example where people come to a coach and say, I'm at crossroads. There was a gentleman who lived in Aberdeen in Scotland, and he had a very successful company. Right. It's a telecommunications company. And we did some coaching, and we explored together what his passions were. And after a very short period of time, what happened was he sold his company, and he opened up because he was a pilot, and he loved airplanes, etc. And he started off his own company. And through the process of coaching, he found that what he really wanted to do wasn't what he was doing already, that he wanted to go for his passion.
This is not Richard Branson, are we talking about? No,
not unfortunately not.
All right, let's take the break and then we'll come back and talk to you a little bit, get a sample of your work. Okay. Yeah, and see what you've done, probably display your book, Celia, and then talk a little bit about yoga and your secrets. So stay with us. This is Expert Insights. I'm your host, Raju, Mandhyan, and we are talking to Peter and Celia Hawe about unleashing one's brilliance. Hang in there, please. Welcome back to Expert Insights. I'm your host, Raju, Mandhyan. We are talking about unleashing brilliance with Peter and Celia Hawe. And Peter's going to tell us about how he engages a client. He shared a story of a success. He's going to share with us a story on how he engages a client or a client engages him and how they let go. How long is the nurturing process, if I may? Okay. How does the business side of this happen? Yeah.
Right. So what happens in a typical process is you meet either weekly or fortnightly for around about half an hour to an hour. And what happens is, during the coaching session, or the first couple of coaching sessions, it's more like rapport building and getting to know each other and getting to know the fundamentals, so the basics. And then we normally will go for about 3 to 6 months is normally how long on average it lasts for. It can go on longer for 12 months, but normally during that time, anything that needs to be dealt with is dealt with in that time. Right, and it's all processed.
What do you call that? Cleaning up, sweeping up, what do you call that? Wiping, rearranging the house?
What, when
the first initial...
well, the initial contact is, it's just to get to know each other, and we call it the initial discussions. And so they know the process, and they know that what their role is, and they know what my role is as a coach. So we know where we are. We talk about confidentiality, etc., how important that is. And so, and then the difference between coaching and many other disciplines is that we set field work in between each session.
Field work, like homework.
Homework, assignments.
Go do a few stretches with Celia before you come back to me,
Right. Okay, they might, if they want to get more money, they might say, okay, next Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Get more money.
Yeah, for example, if they wanted more money from their boss, but they've been putting it off and putting it off, they come to their coach, and the coach says, okay, so what are the barriers we're looking at here? And we'll explore the barriers. At the end of the session, the client says, I'm going to go and ask my boss for a raise, Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So that would be the assignment. So the next session, the coach would say, how did it go? And so forth. So that's what we call an assignment.
So a little bit of a commitment and accountability is involved there.
Sure.
A question. There's a lot of coaching that's going on that's face-to-face, and there's a lot on the phone.
Sure.
What are the pros and cons of each of the approaches, each of the media, face-to-face and on the phone, or through the internet or Skype?
Each have their own advantages. For example, over the phone, it's very easy because you'd have to travel, the client doesn't have to travel, nor does the coach have to travel, so it's very much more convenient.
Cuts down the waste of time that Celia was talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Elevator time, escalator time,
Sure. And it's more, some people prefer it that way. More in the Eastern culture, though, they prefer face-to-face.
Oh, all right.
It's important for them to have, at least for the first couple of sessions, to be a face-to-face.
Wow. So does that say anything about the Asian culture, that I want to see you before I talk to you, or when I talk to you, I want to see you, rather than the Western culture, which I'm fine, as long as I hear you and as long as we stay on course? Is that something to do with being Western and Eastern?
Sure.
It has to do,
Oh, definitely. It's a big difference. I've been fortunate enough to have coached people from all over the world. And the big major difference is that even if when I coach by phone, people in the East insist on a webcam. So,
come to think of it, I like it that way too. I mean, I can do phone, I can do just verbal, auditory, but sometimes I prefer a little kinesthesia, a little visuals in it. I think that's my bias, that's my take on it. Fantastic. Sure. I had a question. Have you ever coached someone, stretched someone in such a way that they snapped? Has that ever happened? Yeah, it's a question. Because, I mean, even though you be all careful as a coach, has the outcome ever been unhappy for the client? Does that happen? If not with you, with some other coach? He goes, man, you messed up my life.
No, because normally our requests, we make our big requests of our clients more than we'd actually ask ourselves to do. And so, therefore, people normally keep within their comfort zone. They don't like stepping out. The value of a coach is that people can step out their comfort zone, and there's somebody there alongside them.
They're still on their own agenda.
They're still on their agenda, but the coach is there as a support. It's a bit like a flower. When it starts to grow tall, it needs a stake to make sure that it doesn't fall over. And that's basically what a coach does.
So thus, as a coach, there is no imposition or indoctrination from your part. There's nothing new. Here's something in your life I want to add. You don't do nothing of that. Never. No citing of examples, no citing of belief systems on your part. You do nothing.
Not belief systems, no. We stay with the agenda of the client. If I said, well, do it this way because this is the way I've always done it, that would be my agenda. So now what we do as coaches, we support people into doing what they feel is right to do. If we see something where we've done something before and it's worked, we will bring it into the conversation, but it will be done in a prefix of, would it help if you looked at it this way?
As an option.
But we don't do it as though we're saying we know
this
it all.
This is the right thing.
This is the way to do it. We do it in a very much, you can say yes or no, it's up to you. But it worked for me then, it might work for you now.
All right, Celia, let's bring the talk to yoga. Okay. Let's talk about diet and the technique and the technology, or whatever methods you employ. Can you share a story on what do you do to bring people around to become slimmer?
Okay.
Healthier, sexier.
Well, first of all, I'll point out that when I first came to the Philippines 16 years ago, there was hardly anyone overweight there is now. It's coincided with a lot of fast food.
Wait, are you saying that 16 years ago there were no chubby people in the Philippines?
Very few chubby, no.
Are you kidding me? But I see so many joggers and so many people out in Fort Bonifacio doing the marathon and the triathlon.
Yeah. There weren't overweight people.
All right. My gosh, I didn't know. I was around.
There are now. There are
okay,
now.
so go ahead. Technique.
So the wonderful teachings of yoga are 3 ways of eating. So, is your food going to make you feel energetic? So when you go to eat something, is it going to make you feel energetic? Does it? And I ask people to say, how do you feel after each meal, after each thing that you eat?
Right.
How do you feel?
Right.
Because yoga says there's 3 different types of food.
Right.
There's sattvic, which is great, tamastic, which makes you feel sluggish and tired, and tamastic, which makes you, rajastic, which makes you feel hyper.
Right.
3 types of food. After each meal, ask yourself, how do you feel? If you're eating food and it doesn't make you feel energized and alive and vital, why eat it?
Hang on. Celia, I'm going to ask my camera person to put in the picture of your book. There it is, Celia.
That's my yoga cards.
Those are yoga cards. That's not a book?
No,
it's like a playing card.
It's like a book.
This is published in the Philippines or in the US
in
or
the UK.
And there's one more. There's one more. It's coming up. I think you have 2.
Yeah, book.
Oh, there you go. It's is there another one coming up? Another picture coming up of another book? Anyway, as it comes up, we'll talk about. There it is. Yoga for Weight Loss. That's your book.
Yes.
And this is current, or it's?
It's current. It's sold over 250,000 copies in 10 countries, in 10 languages.
Are you doing another book?
Yes, I am doing another book.
And it is called Yoga for?
Can't tell you, Raju.
You won't tell me?
I
Okay.
can't tell you. It's under wraps.
Peter, are you coming up with a book for coaching?
Well, I'd like to. I'd like to do a sort of an e-book or something like that too. No, because my website has got a lot of information about coaching. So yes, I had thought about it. It's funny, you know.
So we'll get it one of these days.
One of these days, yes.
All right. During the break, Celia, you were showing me the yoga mat.
Yes.
And you were saying that there is something that most yogis or yoga practitioners don't know.
Yes.
Would you like to show us that quickly?
A tip for aspiring yogis.
All right. Yoga mat.
Yes. One I
rubber,
prepared earlier.
Rubber is a good thing.
Of course, to stop you
from sliding.
slipping, because you should do yoga
You might start
barefoot.
doing yoga here in Manila, end up in Boracay. That would be cool if it's a slippery yoga mat.
So just get a permanent marker and section your mat off.
Yo, yogis out there, I hope you see this, okay?
So a line down there, and then about lines like that, so that you can see your foot placement, that it is correctly balanced. Because what happens with your feet will be affecting your posture, your body posture. So one of the simplest ways is to do this. It's cheap. You just got to get your mat.
Let's say for people who don't do yoga out there, let's say it's an exercise that requires you to bend and touch your toes and then stretch.
Yes.
Does these markers help you define where you stand and how far you stretch? That's the idea behind it, no?
Yeah, of course. It's to keep you balanced, and if your feet are in the correct position and balanced, then you will take that balance all the way up your body.
I like it. So I hope you saw this, Mr. Yoga practitioners and Miss Yoga practitioners. This is for you. I have a question for you both.
Yeah.
Seems to me from this conversation about changing or making the mind brilliant, and you're saying making the physical body brilliant, and yet there seems to be a connection. You're talking about stilling the mind. He's talking about stretching the mind, stretching the limits. You know, how about the intake that exists out in this world? The noise you mentioned, the media, the gossip, the television shows, the bad food, you know, the bad air. How do you manage all this? How do you juggle this? What do I choose in life so that I become brilliant? There is a relationship. You talk about stretching the mind. You talk about, you know, making the body beautiful through relaxing the mind. How do I choose what to take, if there is anything? Yoga for weight loss or coaching for weight gain? Yeah? Where's the connection? Is there one?
First thing is to have awareness that the choices that you're making are not working. So if you don't have any awareness of what you're actually doing, you can't make a choice. So yoga is the ultimate tool for awareness. So you have awareness, and from that you make choices. So if you want to have noise and unnecessary newspapers, TV, it's your choice whether to go down that road or not. And you know that if you eat junk food, you will have junk thoughts. So if you do things that are junk, your mind will be junk. So it's your choice. If you want a life of brilliance, you work for it and let the things go.
So thus, if there are 3 kinds of foods,
yes,
there might be 3 kinds of thought intakes, or data intakes, or information intakes. Food for the mind.
There could be.
And that's where there's an overlap with yoga and coaching, because coaching is about creating awareness in your client, because often people don't realize what they're doing. Because the person, you're doing something which is detrimental to yourself, but not realizing that...
Self-sabotaging.
It's self-sabotage, because it's part of our conditioning.
Yeah.
We're brought up that way. We didn't know any other way, so we're doing it still. But like a tape still playing. And so a coach can say, hey, do you realize this is happening to you? Do you realize that this is your behavior?
Peter, I kind of get that. I kind of get that, but it usually slips my mind. I've been told that you should watch what you think.
Right.
Basically, you're saying that. So give me a small example on how I should self-correct all the time. Can you?
How you can self-correct is very difficult. That's
or be choosy about your intake, your thought intake. Oh.
How to be discerning, do you mean? About how to be in that place? It takes practice. I think it does take practice, because I think our default way of being is not to be aware. I think that there's so many distractions, like you said. There's different programs to watch. There's different food to choose from. There's so much clutter in the mind that it's very difficult to make a clear decision making. So as coaches, we help people to declutter, both on the physical, like cleaning up the lounge and cleaning up, making sure everything's neat and tidy, and so you can see, and also the mental clutter, those old thought patterns which are not serving them anymore. We help them to find them out, and so when they are on their own, they've got these abilities to say, I can see exactly what I'm doing, and I choose to stop doing that. And like in the case of the food, they know, hence that Celia's book, Yoga for Weight Loss, included coaching techniques in it.
Wow, I want a copy of that.
That was unusual about it. It was the first book ever to incorporate...
and
because there's so much overlap. So of course, when you get that awareness, whether you're a yogi or whether you're a client, you get that, that position where you say, I choose that because it serves me better.
Thank you very much. Our time here on TV is up. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for those wonderful insights connecting both the disciplines and telling us how to unleash our brilliance. So any final words, any website promotion, 30 seconds each, and that's the camera if you want to wrap up Unleashing Brilliance or talk about Diamond Coaching, your website, whichever, your choice. 30 seconds each, Peter.
Okay, so, well, if you'd like to learn more about coaching and how it can help you, is to go to my website, which is www.diamondcoaching.com. And there you'll find lots of little tips and things to help you. So good luck with your coaching, and once you start to learn some coaching skills, you'll really find it useful in your life.
Very good. Ma'am Celia.
My website is www.yogaforslimmers.com. I have a book signing on the 31st of March at Fully Booked in Bonifacio, and I'd love to see you there. I'm going to chat about things and give you lots of tips to take away and use at home.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you for being on this show, and I hope you enjoyed the show on Unleashing Brilliance. We forgot to pick up the fact that Peter has a workshop coming up next month, and he does this at McKinley Road, In Touch Foundation, but you can find it on his website, which is diamondcoaching.com. Am I right?
Thank you.
So, salamat for being on this show, and hope you enjoy your life in the Philippines, and hope you add a lot more value than you're already doing.
you.
Thank you.
And good luck with coaching and good luck with yoga. I'd like to be there for I'd like a copy of your book.
Okay.
This coach.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for watching Expat Insights. I'm your host, Raju Mandhyan. Next week on Expat Insights, we have Dr. Bernie Villegas of the University of Asia Pacific. And we are going to talk about Filipino values today, tomorrow, and in the future, or past, present, and future. So it's all about Filipino values from Dr. Bernie Villegas next week. I'm your host, Raju Mandhyan. Salamat and mabuhay.